Hello and welcome to Empathic Connections Counselling. I'm Rebecca, and in today's video we're going to take some time to explore empathy. Now, you've probably already heard the term empathy. It's well known and well used. However, you might not know the details of empathy, and sometimes it can be confused with sympathy. If mental health is an area that you're interested in, be sure to support this channel by liking, subscribing and clicking the bell button to receive future notifications. So in today's video we'll take some time to break down the basics of empathy and how we use it in counselling and why it's important. So first of all, what is empathy? Empathy is the ability to be able to set aside your own feelings and your own responses and reactions to somebody's issues or problems or feelings, and to be able to sense how they are feeling in their world and experience that feeling in your body as if it was your own. So the big difference there is that it is not your own feeling that you're experiencing. It is the other person's feeling that you're experiencing in your body. So it feels like your own feeling, but it's actually the other person's feeling. Empathy can be seen as immersing yourself into the other person's world, experiencing their world, their feelings, their reactions, and their experience of what it feels like to be them. This can come in the form of feeling someone else's pain, someone else's sadness, someone else's anxiety, or any other feelings. Sometimes we can't really put those feelings into words because there can be a mixture at the same time. And this is why empathy is so useful in the counselling world. For example, if someone comes to seek counselling and they're experiencing their own feelings but they're not sure what they are, the counsellor, using empathy, will experience those feelings and be able to break down what they are. So for example, I may sense the client's anxiety as a pain in my chest, or I may feel anxious myself, but counsellors are able to notice this feeling and know that it comes from their client. We might say, when I'm listening to you talk about X, Y or Z, I can notice that I'm feeling anxious and I'm wondering if that's how you're feeling. Or the clients may not know that they're feeling anxious or sad, and the counsellor will experience that sadness or anxiety or any other feeling before the client is recognising it in themselves. And by sharing this experience with the client is then able to acknowledge that this is actually how they're feeling. It helps someone be heard. It helps the complex feelings be noticed and processed. Because to be able to process feelings, we first of all need to experience them, we need to recognise them, and then we need to sit in them. This third process can be quite intense, but once we sit in the feelings, especially if we're sitting in the feelings with our counsellor, they will then process, they will intensify, but then they will dissipate and leave the body. If you could imagine a person who is extremely overwhelmed by feelings, feeling misunderstood and not heard, if you could imagine that they're in a ditch, and then the other person would come along and get into the ditch with them and experience what it is like being in that ditch, experiencing what it is like for that person in their world, whilst keeping one foot out of the ditch. This is a crucial element, because when we experience empathy, it can overwhelm us as well, but that wouldn't be helpful for the person needing help, because If the helper was to become overwhelmed, they may lose sense of direction, and it could go round in that cycle for a long time. So when we use empathy in counselling, we are fully immersing into your world because we want to understand how you're feeling. We would experience that feeling with you. We will sit in that feeling with you whilst keeping one foot out and being grounded so that we can guide you. This helps us not get lost in the world with you, because that wouldn't be helpful. Now, when people come for counselling, or people in general, might not think that other people could understand what's happened to them. Because we're all unique and individual people, we have all had our own experiences of problems and issues. Now, it may feel like nobody can understand how you feel because they haven't experienced your issue or your problem. However, you don't have to have the same experience as somebody to know how it feels for someone. And this is why empathy is so crucial, because we can experience your feeling and pain and sorrow without having to have had the exact same experience as you have. If you ever support someone who has had a similar experience to you, you will have an understanding of what that was like for you. But we can still use empathy in this situation, and we would call it advanced empathy. However, we still need to park our own feelings to a certain degree so that we can fully focus on the client and what their experience of that situation was. Now, the difference between empathy and sympathy is that sympathy is more listening to the person's problem, but thinking and saying, it'll be okay, everything's going to be fine. You may feel sorry for someone when you hear their problems, and that's a form of sympathy. You may not want them to experience the pain they're going through, and that's a form of sympathy. But the difference is with empathy is that you're experiencing that person's feeling as if it was your own. Thank you for your time today. If mental health is an area that you're interested in, be sure to support this channel by liking, subscribing and clicking the bell button to receive future notifications.